I got a message today and it stopped me in my tracks. So I felt like I had to read it to you guys. Last week, we talked about you guys writing in some of your questions on how to apply intentional design into your life. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity. So let me read you what I received. Natasha, I'm 41. I've done therapy for years. I journal every morning. I meditate. I've read every book, and I still cannot seem to attract a lasting relationship. I feel like I've done everything right on the inside. My therapist says I'm ready, but something isn't clicking. Could it be my home? I live alone, and honestly, my space feels more like a crash pad than a home someone would want to come back to. Where do I even start? First, I want to say that you're not broken, and your therapist is right. You are ready. Here's what therapy, journaling, and meditation cannot do. They can't change your physical environment. The reason why intentional design is so powerful, it's because you are staking a claim in your home about what you want to call in. Now, you may have heard this story already, so for those of you that have, I apologize. I will be quick about it. I called love in at the age of 27. I was living in Manhattan. I had a loft apartment. My career was thriving. I was in the beauty industry at this time. I had amazing friends. I had built a life that was a dream only years earlier. I used the top of my dresser as an altar, and it just occurred to me, like, I have this beautiful statue of Kuan Yin head. I still have her today. And this oversized statue, actually, it was a candle of a Buddha. And I put the two of them and faced them to each other. Every night, I would light a candle between them before going to bed. The thing that I did, it wasn't about these two objects. It was about making a claim that I am ready to call in love. And then lighting that candle, I filled myself with so much joy. I imagined I could see through his eyes, see him walking down the streets. I could feel his energy. I could see how we cuddled, how we connected, how he looked at me, and what our touch, our communication, our energy felt like in combination. I want to say it was about 3 months or so. And I went to a party in Brooklyn. It was an engagement party. And at that party, I met Dario. Dario lived in Los Angeles. We talked the entire night. And when it was time to go, I couldn't find him anywhere. I left. I went back to Manhattan in my taxi. And I thanked the universe for giving me this example of the type of man that I wanted to be with. He was such an amazing example. He had all the qualities I was looking for: ambition, entrepreneurialism, thinking about the world in your own way, not following some path, but creating your own path. This was the type of person that I felt like I could build a life with. But he lived in LA. I didn't think I'd ever see him again. We didn't get to exchange numbers or anything. That night, I had this very crazy dream about him. He grabs me by the shoulders at the end and says, "Natasha, I need to be with you." I wake up. I am like, what the heck just happened to me? It didn't seem realistic. I released it and I let it go. And when I look back at my journal entries, what I see, it was like 10 years later that I looked back at my journal entries. I had no idea that this was the case. One journal entry is this book that I was reading, and it recommended that you write a circle and write whatever you want to call in the circle. And I wrote, "Thank you, God, for my perfect soulmate." Let me tell you something. I was such an ambitious girl that even writing that quietly alone in my own apartment felt embarrassing. But I wrote it and I let it go. The next journal entry is me coming home from that night in Brooklyn and saying, "Thank you for introducing me to Dario. He's such a perfect example of the type of guy I want to be with," blah, blah, blah. You get the point. The point was that it wasn't just about the objects, it was about the practice. Now, sometimes in intentional design, we might hang a piece of art that represents something that we want to call in. For me, we have lots of beach imagery in our house because we wanted to call in a beach house, which we did. And so those types of things, you kind of forget about them over time. But because you took the time and the intention to choose those objects, to say, "This is what I'm ready to call in," you become like a magnet for it. Now, it doesn't always happen overnight. It happens when the timing is right, and usually when you've released it enough to let it go, to come in a form that you couldn't even imagine, something better than you couldn't even have imagined. So in this particular case, my recommendation is, first of all, a home that is not anchored and solid and has its own level of commitment to it is going to tell the universe that you're in transition. So we don't have to do these things all overnight, but I want you to start to look around your home and say, how do I make this feel like a place that I love coming home to? Now, you can make a vision board of what that looks like, and you can hang it somewhere prominently in your house. Sometimes I recommend hanging a vision board in your closet because you go in there every day, and it may not be something you want to put on display for everyone, but something that you're going to see every single day. And then when it comes to the love piece, you're going to find something that represents love. And really, this person that you want to call in, the symbols should represent the type of character that you want to call in. I was recently at a friend's house in Santa Fe, and she is ready to call in love. And she has this beautiful statue, and it's two lovers kind of holding each other. And I was like, well, you can just start with that. But one funny thing happened. So she has that in her bedroom near her bed. She has been carrying this Buddha around for 30 years. He's one of those joyous Buddhas with the big belly. And then at her front door, she had this other very, very feminine type of Buddhist statue. It probably is Buddha, but it feels very, very feminine. We just put them next to each other. It literally felt like there was an energetic pulse between the two of them. So now when she lays in her bed, she's staring at this joyous man and this symbol of a beautiful, elegant woman. And they are placed together. So she's gifted herself with going to sleep every night and staring at the two of them. It could be a painting, two abstract symbols that represent love for you. So it really has to be something that is personal. I wouldn't rush it. I would recommend waiting until you find those right objects. It could be two picture frames. Give yourself the time and the space to find something that feels right. Get into the energy of who this person is that you're calling in. What is important to you? What characteristics do you want them to hold? When they see you, how do they respond? Go as far as imagining what your lovemaking looks like and how you spend your time together. What kind of shared interests might you have? How do your friends and family respond to them? Go deep on those feelings. And once you're clear, if you take the time to write it down, it's even more powerful. And give yourself that gift of some sort of daily ritual. For me, it was lighting the candle. It could be just taking 30 seconds or 1 minute a day at that space, at that altar space, where you let yourself revel in the life together, the life that you've built, how you feel together. And just be so, so grateful because you know that it's coming. You know that you're calling it in. You've taken your power back. If there's anything that needs to be released, like anything from past relationships that's no longer serving you. Sometimes these relationships set us up for the next person. So sometimes we want to keep some of these things, but you want to kind of digest, like, why do I want to keep this? It could be a piece of furniture from an old wedding, from a past marriage. It could be a scarf that you were given in that relationship. It may be jewelry. It may be many, many different things. But you do want to do an inventory check. Why am I holding on to these things? Are they serving me? They might be serving you, and then that would make sense to keep them. If they're no longer serving you, it's time to release them and let it go so that you can create energetic space to call this person into your life. This isn't about attracting a partner. It's about telling the truth of who you are and what you want in your space. The woman who designed her room as if love was already on her way was the woman that met Dario. Not the woman that was waiting or hoping or wishing. There was a knowing there. It was a woman who had already made space for him. Your home is either confirming your readiness or quietly contradicting it, and only you can decide which it's doing. If you like this episode and you have some questions for yourself, your own life, someone that you love, then leave a comment or send me a private message, and let's talk about it here. Let's get practical and tangible in how to imbue your life with intentional design. You deserve it.